Hello everyone, this is Rohan Durasetti, and today I have a book review on the book Loot by Jude Watson. Some of you may already be familiar with Jude Watson because of her success in the best-selling series 39 Clues. But for those of you who don't know, Jude Watson is a famous author whose books are mainly targeted at young adults. Throughout her writing career, Jude Watson has grown very popular as shown by her numerous awards, namely the National Book Award for Young People's Literature. Jude Watson has certainly proved herself as an author. But moving on to the book itself, let's start off with a basic summary. In this realistic fiction book, we are introduced to a boy named March very early in the story. Looking at March's background, we find that he has some history that you would not expect out of your average 13-year-old, as he was raised by a single father, Alfie McQuinn, who has established a reputation for himself as being a famous cat burglar in Amsterdam. This influence from his father, of course, causes him to miss out on school and join the field of crime, helping his dad on several heists. But during one specific burglary, Alfie falls from a rooftop onto the cement below. With Alfie barely hanging on to his life, he manages to tell his son to find Jules. At first, March is very confused by this, since stealing is what he does for a living. But March soon finds out that this was no mistake, and that he actually has a twin sister named Jules, whom he was never aware of. These two kids are picked up by the police and are placed in orphanages, where the conditions show to be much worse than what you would expect with a home for children. March and Jules decide that they are going to break out with the help of a few others and live an easy life full of riches. All of this just takes one more good heist. The rest of the plot depicts the struggles that these kids endure in order to achieve such a difficult goal, through elaborate descriptions, meaningful personalities, and intense action scenes. You would think that such properties would make for an outstanding book. Such a hypothesis shows to be true, as I personally would give this book a grade of an A- based on character development, sequence of events / plot, and the overall satisfaction / conclusion of the story. Let's start off with character development. Let's take a closer look at the main protagonists of the story, March and Jules, as well as all the background characters as a whole. Firstly, I would give the character of March an A+. I find that this character is perfectly suited to the style of this book, with his confident mindset, as well as the multiple talents he holds, such as being able to pick any lock in under a minute. March is a very relatable character, as he is more of a realistic person whose actions and thoughts can be translated into the real world, contributing to why he has earned himself an A+ rating. Secondly, I would give Jules a rating of a B+. Jules has received such a rating because although I recognize she has an important role and her personality in a way acts as an alter ego to March's, I have to admit that I find her character a bit annoying since she tends to be a burden in several situations. This is why she deserves a B+. Looking at the background characters as a whole, we find that some of them include Darius, a friend of March and Jules who resorts to violence to express his emotions, Mike Shannon, one of the background villains who on TV may look innocent but is certainly not in the real world, and Izzy, another friend of the two protagonists who is shy but very talented. Overall, I feel that these characters and how their actions and personalities were developed fits well into the story, which is why the background characters are given an A. Let's now look at the sequence of events. Although this book's sequence of events with the plot is very good, it certainly has its flaws. One thing I noticed while reading this book was that each individual scene passed by very quickly. Sure, each scene was described very well, which is certainly a bonus, but even after a few pages, something completely different was happening, leaving the reader completely confused. I feel that the author just included too much content for the reader to handle, especially when the book was only 266 pages long. Overall, this criteria in the book deserves a grade of a B+. Lastly, let's look at the overall satisfaction / conclusion of the story. Although I won't spoil the end for all of my watchers, I will say that the ending was very subtle. I found this pleasing as the ending was not your usual cliche of the hero saving the day, and it was an ending that I would not have expected. If I cannot guess the ending of the book, this immediately regards it as well written and thought out, which is why this criteria for the book deserves an A+. In conclusion, this book proves to be a great read for those who enjoy realistic fiction, intense action scenes, or an overall great read. I fully recommend this book, and I thank you for watching.